Everyone, I'm Adelheid Herrmann. I'm currently living in the community of Naknek, Alaska in the summers, and I live in Anchorage in the winters. And then my job is currently in Fairbanks, Alaska, for the Alaska Center for Climate Assessment and Policy, doing postdoc work and moving into a co-investigator role. I started working there in 2019, and uh, also in my past work, I've been in the Alaska State Legislature representing the Bristol Bay, Aleutian, and Pribilof Islands area, and had various other jobs, mostly advocating for Alaska Native peoples. And today I'm going to talk about some of what's going on with the changing environment in Alaska. So mainly I'll talk about the rural Alaska people living in there's about 229 communities that there's tribal governments. There's also municipalities, city governments, boroughs, and so on. There's a huge dependence on subsistence fishing and animals in Alaska. And with the changing environment now, there's lack of snow and ice, and this really causes problems. For example, if the weather's turning into more like moisture with rain, and then the freezing of that rain will cause will will cause the ground to freeze over, so the caribou can't get their food that they count on all the time. The berries, they're not producing because of the lack of snow. Um, and then just the really dry areas are prone to wildfires. And then there's basically very few firefighting equipment that's in many of the smaller communities. And there's lack of stores, high cost of living, lack of good internet. And then the local governments are stretched thin too. There's oftentimes a lack of workforce, different like people might have three jobs. And I told the elders the other day in a commencement speech that they will have to bring out all the tools in their toolbox to help the younger people adjust and adapt to what's going on, because it'll take all of us to um, provide solutions, for the devastation of infrastructure, the devastation of the land and the water, like the water's warming, so the fish are migrating to different spots, and so you have the run timing of these fisheries are different now. Everything is changing. You don't have the sea ice or the ice in the lakes and rivers that people count on these uh, systems to freeze over, so then they can use them as um, roads to go hunting and fishing and things like that. Um, and then, with all of this going on, all this, I call it deficit things to think about. We also have a very resilient culture and people in Alaska. We've been adapting for years, and we'll continue to do that, but now we have to think about like loss of lifestyle, loss of the culture, and loss of livelihoods and lifestyles. So, and then let's see, so we have a society in Alaska that helps each other. We're not constantly fighting. There's internal politics and stuff, but a lot of times it's more um, helping out each other. So with all of this, we'll also need the scientists providing us information that we can use in our adaptation plans or um, dealing with infrastructure loss and, permafrost and all those kinds of things. We'll need scientists to provide information that's useful and relevant. And then, it's happening some, but we need it to happen on a larger scale. Is that we need the Western ways to learn more about the culture and the subsistence ways of life of Alaska Native people, just so that we're working together instead of having two separate worldviews. And there's good reports that I think that people should look at, and one of them is the unmet needs report that the Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium put forward. They have an executive summary that talks about, the critical importance of protecting Alaska Native communities and cultures, and they're they state that Alaska Native villages and Alaska Native cultures are a national treasure. And they also talk about the importance of looking at Alaska as like a bellwether for what's going to happen in the rest of the United States. And you can tell all across the United States, people are being displaced, just like in Alaska. We don't want to be displaced. There's not many places to go, or like one community has in Alaska has moved, and it's a really good indicator of what's to come. So that would be new talk. There's also other things that you can look at, I think, and that's the General Accounting Office work that they've done um, on what climate adaptation, I believe. So I think that's it for now.